Now that I think I've got the gellum gum process down pretty well, which is less aggressive than standard aqueous bath, especially to Silver Age and Bronze comics. I think I'm going to go back to this Conan the Barbarian one. If you remember from past videos, I had a Conan before this book, but I was getting ready to send it in, submit it to CGC for a grading. And before I did, I went ahead and just did a simple blue LED overlay process to remove some foxing on the back of the book. Little did I know that the spine was incredibly weak, and it started, the whole spine started breaking down, and then it just got worse from there. And I was really upset about it. And then for my birthday, out of the blue, my brother, who doesn't collect comics or doesn't really know that much what I'm into, he was watching my videos and saw that video and thought, hey, I'm gonna surprise my brother and get him a new copy. And so he did. He went through the whole process of trying to find a comic book seller who he didn't think was going to rip him off, and that's a whole ordeal. And he picked up this book, and this book has a much more vivid color strike than the previous book I had. So that gives me a little bit of confidence that this book can handle a little bit more. And as you can see, it's heavily water stained. It's got a strong rippling through the center of the book here, of the front cover, and the back is pretty messed up. I mean, you probably could still get like maybe a 3 out of this book if you pressed it flat, but I do think I see a little bit of color loss from where the water had affected this book in the past. There's a little bit, I think, right here, and a little bit on his leg. And then there is some color loss just from wetness in the folding right here and here. And there's color loss at the very edge of the book as well, and some along this fold. There's nothing I can do about any of that. So I'm going to try to fix up this book as well as I can, regardless. I do see the beginning of some rust migration, especially actually with both staples. You can see the rust starting to form at both staples here. So I'm going to take care of that. And you can see more of the water stain along the back page here, and even into the internal wraps. There's a little bit here and here. So I'm going to use that same gellum gum process for the cover, and then I'm going to wash the internal wraps with aqueous baths, just like I did with the Strange Tales comic book. So first thing I have to do is remove these staples. Get back to the centerfold. Looks like a shoe print here. Someone must have stepped on it at one point with their sneakers, which, poor comic. I'm not going to do any major conservation to this book other than the cleaning. I'm not doing any tear seals or anything like that. I want to get this book back to a universal, if possible. Okay, for better or for worse, this is the last time this cover of Conan the Barbarian #1 will be in this condition. As you can see, it's pretty water damaged. And if I hit the light just right, you can see how ripply it is and all the staining on it. So I'm going to throw it on some gellum gum here that I'm going to make in a second, and I'll show you what I'm doing. Okay, so here I have 40 grams of betaine, 20 grams of my gellum gum, and I think about 4 grams or 0.4 grams of this calcium acetate. And I will be adding to that 250 milliliters of concentrated calcium hydroxide and 750 milliliters of filtered tap water. So I'm doing that now. And I'm just gonna make sure that this stirs up and doesn't set too quickly. So I'm gonna go ahead and throw this in the microwave. Last time it took me about 14 minutes to get it to a boil. My microwave kind of sucks, so that might be part of the problem, but I was also checking it every couple of minutes to make sure it didn't solidify. I was kind of stirring it up. So as this starts getting close to a boil, it forms like a kind of a white foam at the top, and it'll should eventually go from sort of this kind of milky color to like a more clear color. Okay, so my solution has finally come to a boil, and yeah, it is clear now, underneath the foam at least. I'm going to go ahead and pour it into my mold. Okay, so I've got my slab here on the flat side. It's a little thin on this corner where I lost some material, but overall it's pretty thick, and I think it's not going to matter that much. So let me go ahead and do the scary part now. Okay, in my opinion, this is kind of the freakiest bit of the whole process here. I need to wet this down so I can get it nice and flat. And I want to do that without picking up any of the ink here. So in my spray bottle here, I have 1 part calcium hydroxide concentrated solution mixed with 3 parts filtered water. Okay, so I have this on the slab now. I'm just going to wet it down a little bit more. I have the top Polytex off, and I'm just going to let it sit for about 30 minutes. All right, here we are at my photo tray. I'm just going to give it like a very quick bath. Okay, I doubt the camera will pick it up, but there's just a little bit of tannins in here. Again, I'm not sure if the camera can pick this up, but I just wanted to demonstrate, yeah, I can definitely see some coloration in the gel between where the comic was sitting and this white paper towel that I have underneath it. Not sure if you can pick that up, but it definitely took out some tannins and some of the dirt and whatnot. Okay, these black areas or darker areas, I'm going to go ahead and hit with some Evaporust. Okay, so in this I have calcium hydroxide and a little bit of Trinex. These internal wraps look like they handle getting wet a lot better than covers do, that's for sure. I think I'm ready to put this Conan book back together again. Ran into a few issues with this, including the fact that I very sadly, I'm not sure, you can't really tell, I don't think, but there's a little rip right here that I unfortunately did, or allowed to happen. I did what I could to remove as much rust and water damage as I could, but there may be too many indications to CGC or a grading company that that I've done work to this book as far as cleaning it. One of the things I wish I could have done more about is the rust stains here on this centerfold. Other than actually just cutting it out, it's still visible. Other than cutting out, there's not really much I can do about how it shows up. And you can see like the faint outline where the rust kind of expanded into the paper a little bit. The Evapor Rust did a great job removing the darkest bits of carbon and whatnot, but it just really, it can only go so far. But I didn't want to cut this, remaining rust out because, I wanted to keep this book universal and I won't be able to attach the staples otherwise. I may have a problem attaching the staples as is, honestly. Also, similar story with the inside of the cover here. I'm left with these sort of kind of weird stains around the staple holes that I just can't do anything about. I tried to diminish them as much as I could, either through bleaching or sanding or whatnot, but there's just nothing I can do about it, or at least no method that I know of to fix this. So I'm just going to have to put this book back together and hope for the best. I was able to de-rustify the staples. They weren't very badly rusted to begin with, but there's really no rust on them anymore, so they look pretty good. That's the top staple, and here's the bottom staple. So I'm gonna go ahead and try to insert these staples, and hope I don't tear anything doing so. Okay, we've got our book out of the humidification tank. And just going to try to put a spine back into this book. Shouldn't be too hard to do because it'll probably want to bend back the way it was, and there was like no major spine roll or nothing on this, I don't think. Okay, let's see how this came out. I don't know. Oh no. Oh no. Detached to the centerfold. I knew that was a risk. The centerfold, especially this top staple, was just too rusted And I knew trying to remove the rust was probably going to cause this. I just don't have the touch for these later books. And I think the cover shrunk. I gotta figure out a better method for drying the cover after putting it on the slab, because I keep on having shrinkage here. I'll see if I can conserve the book and just send it in as conserved, or, you know, that something has been done to the staple holes. I've heard that sometimes they don't read the notes that you send them, so it may still come back as a universal regardless, but I don't know, I feel like they'll notice the cleaning regardless. So, I mean, I'm not trying to hide nothing from them anyways, from CGC or whoever. Guess I'll be buying another Conan book. Okay, so I'm going to leave this book under pressure for a while. I got the center wrap reattached with a little bit of a brown Tengujo. It's a very seamless fix. It might be really even hard to notice it, but if I send this to CGC, I'm going to send in a note letting them know the work that I did. I've been told by Phil from Phantom Restoration that oftentimes he believes that they just toss the letters that you send them. So it's possible that they don't catch the fix or don't care about the fix and give this to Universal anyways. I don't see this coming back as Universal anyhow, because I think the cleaning is fairly evident. You can tell the staples have been detached, and I think I got a little bit of shrinkage on the cover here. I'm very nervous about these staples popping. They're very loose on the cover here, and I'm not sure if I can make that out. There's a lot of give. They seem fairly attached within the book, but I'm very nervous about these. So all that said, I'm not too hopeful for a universal grade if I were to send this in. So I'm going to go ahead and put some weight on this overnight, and then throw it into some Mylar and kind of forget about it till the next project, you know. And if I were send a batch of books to CDC, it may or may not go. Still looking for a good Universal Conan. Anyhow, that's the end of this journey. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.